Hello and welcome everybody. I am Stuart and this is a Group Sales Bootcamp Power Hour. If you came in early, I like to just do a little chit chat, make sure everything is working technically well, so we start on time and end on time. Today is going to be a unique day because I will kick off with training that will eventually find its way into boot camp. All right, so 2 weeks ago, I did that as well. And it's while I haven't embedded it in boot camp, it is available to all my boot campers to see. Okay, and I thought it went very well. And then we had Q&A time after. Today's topic is protect your assets. Did I say that right? How to prevent loss of time and money. And I'm bringing you my top 20. And I realized that if I gave you all 20 right now, right here, it would take the whole hour. We'd have no time for Q&A. We'd have no time for me to ask you questions, for you to share, and most importantly, for you to ask me questions. So instead of the top 20 today, I'm going to give you the top 10. And then guess what? You guessed right. On July 9th, which is our next power hour, I will do the back half. I'll do the back 10. And then I will edit them two together, 10 and 10, hence the 20, and load it up in the boot camp for you. So I think you're going to enjoy today. Well, what I'd like to do first is welcome everybody. If it is your first time here, if you're a new boot camper, or if you haven't been here in a long time, and you're glad to be here, because I'm glad you're here, give me a shout out, let me know. So let me do a few welcomes here and see if anybody has any quick comments to share with me, and then we're going to dive right in. And before I do that, it's important that I tell you all, and I'm looking at you, I really am. I'm imagining that you're here in my office with me, or we're in a conference room together, and we're connecting, we're talking, we're chatting in person, and I'm so grateful that you're giving me this time. If you're watching the replay, I'm as grateful that you're giving me this time. I want you to leave this session changed, different than when you first came in. That's what's most important, man. I really put a lot of TLC, a lot of thought into these sessions. And remember, I depend on you also to share successes, failures, to share your questions, comments, experiences. And I know that these are probably the toughest times to be in travel of all times. I think I'm not overstating that. I'm not overstating that. At the same time, I keep my chin up. You're here because you're keeping your chin up. You're remaining positive, hopeful, believing that things will turn around, things will come back, and your expertise, your experience, your skill sets will be more important than ever before. And furthermore, final comment, I'm convinced that group travel will be more important and more popular than ever before. So who is going to answer the call? The suppliers can't answer the call. They rely on you to answer the call, the experts. And that's what I hope to help elevate. And I know everyone on is at different levels. So you may pick this up, Ramona may pick this up, and Hans may pick this up, and Charlene may pick this up. And that's okay. That's the beautiful part. As Charlene is here, you got the reminder. Cool. Welcome, Charlene. Hans got the reminder. Kay did as well. Thank you. And Charlene, this is your first power hour. Welcome. Remember, let your fingers do the typing. When I kick off with the slides in 30 seconds, I won't be checking questions and comments till I finish the top 10. Then we're going to come back. Marina is back. Welcome, Marina. I am so glad you're here. All right. So if you're just joined in, make sure you just type in, just just so I know you're here, can see me and hear me. It's just really nice to see you interact and engage. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this bar over here. I'm going to share this screen. And if you'd be so kind, go. Somebody just confirm with me that you can see the screen here. Hey, Scott is back in the house. Welcome, Scott. I wish I could see you, but I'm imagining that I'm looking right at you. And I'm so grateful that you're here. So grateful that you're here. Thank you. And I hope that this is fruitful time for you, productive time for you. I know these are extremely tough times for you, my friend, and I'm so grateful to have you in the house. Truly. Linda's here. Welcome, Linda. Karen is here. Karen, how much of me can you take? And Ramona too, because you guys you're doing the mastermind with me. So excited, which is in August. Charlene, you can see the screen, beautiful. Crystal's here. Hello, Crystal. And Summer is back also. Welcome, Summer. Danita is here. Welcome, Danita. Jenny can see the screen. Kay got the email. Crystal can see the screen. And Leslie's here. Welcome, Leslie. Glad you're here. All right. Good deal. Thank you. Here we go. And Nancy, you made it. Super cool. Nancy G, because we got a bunch of Nancys. This is so cool. See, this is what gets me energized. I miss being on the stage, but you give me the chance to do it. And it's not about me being on stage. It's about me transforming, giving you something that is like, oh, wow, an aha moment that maybe you are already doing that I'm validating. Maybe you forgot, I'm reminding you, or maybe you hadn't thought of, and it's a whole new idea. So this is Protect Your Assets, how to prevent loss of time and money. And I know being a travel professional, a travel entrepreneur, a travel advisor, especially in the group segment, is a challenge. You are quoting on groups, whether it's a client that's been doing business with for years or somebody brand new that you don't know, that's sort of shopping, and you have to make some tough decisions sometimes. Do you want that group so bad that you keep the client, but sometimes lose money or break even at best? Or do you lose the client? Do you say no? Do you refuse to discount, if you will? Do you refuse to create a bare bones stripped down off the shelf product and lose the client? And maybe you look at that loss as also losing money, you know, versus, okay, I don't have that headache anymore. Let me move on to profitable business. Or maybe you view it as, okay, you didn't make the sale because you weren't willing to have all kinds of give backs. They were too demanding, whatever it is. Well, wouldn't it be great, of course, to earn money and keep the client, right? And make the sale, which is the whole concept here. But would it be even better, friends, if you can make the sale, keep the client, earn money, and keep your other clients? Because sometimes, you know, you get what you ask for. Your dream comes true. You get that magnificent group, and it doesn't need to be a big group. It could be 10, could be 12, could be 30. And remember, it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. And sometimes the group can overwhelm you when it comes to selling, servicing, managing, and so forth. And then you end up neglecting your other valued clients. And that's not good either. So it's important I brought that into the picture. What I want you to do, actually, we'll do the poll after. Yeah, because I just want to dig into these slides. I'm good to go here. I like this quote from Warren Buffett. Perhaps you've seen it before. Rule number 1, never lose money. And do you remember what rule number 2 is? Never forget rule number 1. So friends, at the end of the day, I hope that if you haven't already made the decision, that sometimes you need to let a client go. You need to, if you're going fishing and that fish just wasn't big enough, you throw it back in and you just keep fishing for something that's good, that's quality. And don't look at it as a loss, because Losing money is not the place we want to be. We're in business to make money, and hence the concept, the premise of today's session. And again, I will give you the top 10 today and follow up with the back half, 11 through 20 on July 9th, because if I gave you all 20 today, I'd use up the whole hour. And I do want time for us to engage. By the way, I have provided a handout for you, boot campers. Boot campers, you don't have to get it yet, but it's there in the dashboard under handouts. You can download the 6-page handout that accompanies this. It's not a fill in the blank. It's got everything filled in. So don't print it out yet. Don't cheat. Focus on the screen. Just make sure before you leave here, that you take it, save it, or print it. And I create it as a checklist. So number one, comprehend the supplier contract. Having been on the supplier side, friends, several suppliers, I can tell you that the majority of travel professionals back in the day rarely really read, let alone understood, the supplier contract until it's too late. So this is really critical because you may decide not to do business with that particular supplier, or at the very least, you'll understand what the rules of engagement are with the supplier. It's critical because those same rules have to apply to your clients. So your purpose in comprehending, not reading it, but comprehending, is that you don't miss deadlines. You understand what happens to unsold space, or if they come to take some back, so you lose it. What happens if you fall short of the TCs and you don't earn the amenity points that you had hoped for? What happens? And the penalties if you make changes. Some of these penalties, of course, need to be translated to the guest. So my success tips to you is by comprehending the supplier contract, naturally you want to backdate all of the deadlines and synchronize this with your client. So if go through their contract line for line. And I know you're looking at me saying, Stuart, I do this. Well, print this checklist out just in case you forget. You want to put their dates in your book and back it up so that you leave a cushion just in case something comes up. And then, of course, you want to backdate the same deadlines for the guests, so you don't run up against walls. I can't tell you how many times I get calls from my value travel professionals when I was out in the field as a BDM and a DSM and as a director. Oh, please, please, please. And sometimes I couldn't deliver. I couldn't do those favors and break the rules because the ship is filling, the hotel is filling, can't be done. And an idea too is to duplicate the terms and conditions. And I don't know why there's an extra apostrophe S there. That's fascinating. The things you see when you're live on the client contract. So do you do this now? Or do you provide a link so they can read the supplier? Or do you have them sign it? A lot of suppliers require the signature from the guest that they acknowledge it. And just in case, I put it in parentheses, you've committed to some kind of a tour conductor share or give back. I hope it's not the free TC. We talked about this 2 weeks ago, that you undercommit. You don't need to reveal the terms of your private exclusive contract you have with the supplier. You understand what I'm saying? You don't need to reveal that. So you may want to undercommit, because if they fall short and they don't earn their incentive, then at least there's a cushion that you can make decisions if you want to play around there, or at least things just don't completely fall apart. So like if you were supposed to be going, at least you still have yours. And assume nothing is that's my best advice when I put my supplier cap on. Assume nothing in the supplier contract is negotiable. Friends, if you just assume that, It'll save a lot of heartache and headache. Number 2, clarify terms of rate protection. How many times have you put quotes out there and you start selling, and maybe you're a week in, or maybe you're a month before departure to the ship, to the hotel, to the tour, and the rate drops. Now, isn't it great if the rate goes up and they've locked in a great package, but what if the rate drops and they start calling you? So your purpose to clarify the terms of rate protection is to protect yourself against new promotions and rate drops. So you need to understand what that supplier's, and this may not be in the contract, their specific terms and conditions are about rate drops and promotions. Are they applicable? Could you take advantage of it? Will they automatically change it? Or will they give you a value add in case of cash differential? Some of the lines do that. So my success tips: hedge by never selling the bare bones product. You hear me, and at my new boot campers, you'll hear me say this over and over and over again: never to sell a bare bones stripped down off the shelf product. And when you do, you are automatically protecting yourself against a rate drop because your rate is already higher and it's more inclusive. And at the same time, I suggest, friends, that you stay very well fixated on their rates and their promotions, because you need to know before they do, right? How many times have you gotten a call from a guest and you were the last to know that the rate dropped? So you need to stay proactive, set your calendar to check it weekly, or however it's best for you to do that, to stay engaged. I do recommend that you avoid rate reductions. You heard me say this before. Bringing a price point down probably takes money out of your pocket, and it's best not to start with the discounting always. And frankly, if you want to do something for them, if you feel they should get something back, or if their group leader is asking for something, hey, but wait, I know it's a package, but the rate dropped and the supplier is going to back you up. It's your choice, friends. You don't have to do anything, okay? You don't try not to do cash back, but maybe a spending credit, right? Or some kind of other bonus. I'd rather see you do a bonus than a cash back, or keep it. I mean, is there a law against you earning a few extra shekels if the price drops and everyone is already very, very, very happy with the package you created and the price they paid? Why upset the peace and the comfort and confidence that what they paid is a great value? Just let it go, and it's okay. It is okay. Number 3, lock down the marketing costs. Now, let me tell you that I sure hope your marketing costs are minimal, if not nil. Because when it comes to affinity groups, my hope, fervent hope, is that you are engaged and have a sort of a collaborative arrangement, a partnership with that group leader, with the organization association with the group. So they're not going to charge you to advertise or promote, because they're in it to win it. They want you to send messages to their database of people. They want you to post important informational updates in their social media groups. So why would they charge you for it? Now, I know what you're saying, but Stuart, I need to advertise. Well, if you're advertising in a newspaper or a newsletter, then maybe it's not a true affinity group. Remember, an affinity group means that there's a place where you can go and find them because they have something very deeply in common, and you'll have so much more of a high success rate when you don't need to pay for marketing and email blasts and so forth. But I know you're going to have marketing costs because you probably will be producing materials. So your purpose is to eliminate unexpected costs, of course. It keeps you from going over budget, and it will keep you from increasing the acquisition cost. You understand what the acquisition cost is, which is how much it costs you to bring in that one guest or the couple, if it's a cabin or a room? What's the acquisition cost? Different from ROI, okay? It's sort of in the same category, but the acquisition cost is how much you paid per person to bring them in. And it keeps you disciplined if you lock down marketing costs, because you don't want to be tempted to do something along the way that wasn't in the original plan. So success tips. I would confirm the cost in an agreement letter with the group. When you do your group agreement letter and there are certain costs that you're incurring, sometimes they will share in those costs. Yeah, organizations, associations, corporations, they will. Don't laugh. I know what you're thinking. Oh, wouldn't that be great? But they certainly might, because they're in it to win it. Not every group out there is looking to beat you up over price and just, get the absolute bare bones, stripped down product with, and just keep everything for themselves. It's true. The best, most successful groups are when that group and when you guys, your missions are aligned. So you can confirm it in the agreement letter, especially if they need to know this, so that you're showing them you're expending money, you're investing in the success, and or you have to pay them for something, right? So they don't increase or change the pricing. Confirm costs with the vendors of costing, and include everything in your P&L. What's a P&L? What's a P&L? Let's talk about it. I want to know, do you create a P&L spreadsheet? Now, I'm not going to look now what you're posting, but if you do, I'll tell you what, only if you do create a P&L for every single group, for every group, let's just say I do, or say yes, post that. I'd like to see how many of you really do create a profit and loss spreadsheet, also a pro forma for every group. The groups I have done, my River Cruise group in April 2017, which was a partial ship charter with AMA, you better believe I had a spreadsheet. My mastermind group that I'm doing with Mike Marcia, you better believe we created a spreadsheet to understand it. And it allows you, the purpose is to create pricing models, to craft packages, to maximize margins, to prevent bad choices, and to know when you're going to win and when you're going to lose. Now, in boot camp, friends, and if you're new in boot camp, you may have seen that I do offer you an Excel spreadsheet that you can actually plug in your numbers. I put the math in there for you. And the thing is, this is a really simple one, because what you also need to do is it has an area for NCCFs per person if it's a cruise, naturally, but you need to have taxes and other fees added in. So my spreadsheets, they just go on and on and on and on and on. And if you notice that down at the bottom, that you see that yellow arrow, there's tabs: expenses tabs, your marketing costs, add-ons. That's where you're going to create the package and add in all the costs of the components of the package. And then there's the last tab, which is the grandest tab of all, the profit and loss statement, that shows you when you break even, when you lose. And the way I did this here, the sample I'm giving you is, this is a sample now, to show that based on how you price it out, where and when you're going to make money. It looks complicated. If you love Excel, if you love numbers, man, you're going to dig in and you're going to get all excited. Excel is awesome. By changing one number, everything can change. If this gives you anxiety, well, then hire an accountant. Get somebody to help you with it. But this is in boot camp. Use it, borrow it, and learn. So I recommend you got to do it for every group, friends. Create a template that you can use over and over again. And the more you use it, the better at it you'll get. Use your accountant and just don't abandon it. Now, number 5, net everything down. If you've never heard me say this before, this may come as a surprise. And if you don't know how to do it, we're not going to have a math lesson today, but in other words, it's a supplier that pays you a commission. Here's the price. and they're going to pay you 10, 12, 14, 15% commission on this amount, right? I suggest you net it down. Why? Because it neutralizes all commissionable and non-commissionable numbers. Remember, it's all about the package, friends. When you create the package, you may have peripheral products like Resort for a Day or other vendors. Maybe you're working with a destination management company, a DMC, and they don't do it commission based. They give you a net number. And I've seen travel professionals take a net number and they forget it's net. They assume, oh, I make commission on that. No, because we're used to being in a commission world. I get that. That's why net everything down. So everything is neutralized, and that's what you're going to use in your spreadsheet, your Excel spreadsheet. What's very important is that you separate out the taxes, fees, gratuities if you're not including them. So be really meticulous. You don't want to make a mistake and say, uh-oh, I forgot. That's a net number. I forgot to mark it up. I think it's very confusing when you deal with some numbers that are commissionable and some that are not. So neutralize everything and then go back to your spreadsheet. I showed you on the profit and loss tab before in Excel, and mark it up 20%, 30%, whatever commission you want to earn that you believe is going to be fair and balanced. And speaking of the markup, AKA the margin, your purpose is for you not to be a commission hostage. There's no reason, friends, why you need to earn only 10 or 12 or 14 or 15%. There's no reason why. Because if you settle for that, you're more of a travel agent. You're an agent. You're selling a product, you're getting paid to sell that ticket. That's not what Group Bootcamp is about. Group Bootcamp is about creating a package, a more inclusive package, so your customers have a much more enriching, fulfilling, complete, thorough experience, and you earn more in the process for doing that work. So you're going to set up your own profit margin, and the success tip is naturally to bake in more of your fees to earn on all products and services, including escorting, which we'll talk about. Just make sure, friends, that your markup, of course, is fair and reasonable to the client and you. That's the balancing act. I get asked this question often, Stuart, what should the markup be? Should it be 10? Should it be 20? Should it be 30? Should it be 40? I can't answer that question. You need to toggle the numbers, create variables in your Excel spreadsheet, and look at that number and say, okay, I'm comfortable, this is you talking, I'm comfortable with that markup or that margin. Now, how does that look to the consumer? Is that a reasonable number for the consumer, right? Because if it's too high, even if it's got loads of goodies, built in, it could still be too high. So you want to find that balancing act where you're happy and they're happy. They realize, wow, this is great because with this package, you're reducing stress and risk, you're adding value and convenience, and you're transforming the entire experience from beginning to end, right? The whole experience. And that's where you're able to charge more because you've built in more. And in Bootcamp 2, there is a margin or markup cheat sheet. And again, remember, you don't mark up the taxes and fees. I mean, look, I'm going to let you handle this the way you want, but I'd rather you, because remember, a tax and a fee is a net number that gets passed through, right? So I don't think you need to mark that up. Just net everything down, and you can mark up everything else and then add in the taxes and fees if you want. But I'll let you be the judge of how you want to work that. That's just my preference. I always keep taxes and fees and gratuities separate, and then I deal with all the other numbers, and then I add them all together to see what the final is. Because you don't want the taxes, fees, and gratuities to really impact your margins and your markups in that sense. Mark up what you should be marking up. And on the handout that you have there, I also give you this, and this is not a perfect science, but it gets you close enough. Not going to go through it, not a math lesson today, but there is a way how you can take a net number, multiply it by that multiplier that I provided with you and create somewhat of a commission if you want. You can see there's up to a 30% commission. Number 7, factor in variables. And by the way, you have questions or comments. Don't get stuck in the mud if I'm going too fast. Make sure you type it out, because when I'm done with the top 10, I'm going to go back and review your questions or comments and address them. That's the part, the back half of this power hour is ask anything. Number 7, factor in variables. You know, you have to factor in variables. I don't know, you probably didn't get a chance to see when I was showing the slide before of the Excel spreadsheet and the profit and loss tab itself, right? That's like the holy grail. That page brings in all the numbers, mashes it all together, and it shows you where you're going to win or lose, okay? And what happens if you only sell 50%? What happens if you only sell 80% of the product? What happens if you only sell 10%? You know, at some point you have to, oh no, this is failing. I need to cut and run. I need to get out because we're not going to, or maybe we need to add more space. We're going to do so well. So you want to factor in those variables to eliminate the risk of losing money. You don't want to get caught short. I asked you earlier, the very first question about, you know, that balancing act of, boy, just to make that sale, do you acquiesce and, you know, don't package, or you sell under what you know you should be selling it for, and you either break even or lose money just to keep the client? I don't want you to do that anymore. So the bottom line is you need to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, and know when to grow them. So my success tips, you really do, and I know the Excel spreadsheet is going to get complicated, but once you get it, once you use it, friends, you're going to love it. It's like riding a bicycle for the first time. Once you get on and go, right? We were talking about my training for the half Ironman, for the Ironman 70.3, and once you train and train and train and use it and do it over and over and over again, it becomes second nature. You develop habits. So you want to include the TC earnings and the incentive pricing, because sometimes incentive pricing is when either the supplier or peripheral supplier saying, well, listen, if you sell 10, you pay this. If you sell 20, you pay this. If you sell 30, you pay this. Sometimes you have incentive pricing. And then you've got to factor in the group leader payouts if that's something they asked you for. Don't offer until they ask. And then what if you can earn bonus commissions? But what if there are givebacks? All of it needs to be baked in as variables, so you know where your break-even point is. Have an overpayment solution. Now, when I've done live boot camps and I travel around and I do this for companies, this is a topic that we can talk about endlessly for hours. And sometimes your franchise headquarters, sometimes your host, or just you, if you're 100% independent, or if you're with a consortium, they may have a credit card merchant account that you can use, right? But the overpayment is a real dilemma. I get that, because here I am telling you to never sell the bare bone package, but to create a bare bone product, but to create a package. So how do you collect the money if you're going to be collecting more than the supplier needs? Well, your purpose in having a solution before you get going is to be able to collect the money for all the components seamlessly and opaquely. You know what the word opaquely means in this business context? Opaquely means hidden. Because friends, what you don't want to do is say, okay, it's $30 for the t-shirts, it's $100 for the resort for a day, and it's $1,200 for the cruise, and it's $400 for the excursion. You don't want to do that. It'll drive people crazy if you keep dinging their card with a dozen different supplier names. You know this. It would be unsettling for you as a consumer. And again, we can spend as much time as you want talking about this in Q&A, but number one, and most important, you want to choose the brands or suppliers that allow overpayments. And you know some of them that you already work with will allow a certain percentage or a certain dollar amount over the amount due. Now, understand that the consumer then, their credit card statement will show the supplier, so you're out of that picture. However, you're not going to get that divot, that differential, that extra profit margin until it's commission time. And they will almost definitely take out 3 or 3.5%, whatever it is, because they're collecting it on credit card. So why would they pay you on money they're not collecting? They lose the 3.25%, 3.5% to the credit card company, and that's going to come out too. And I know that sounds uncomfortable, and it's like, oh, darn it. But friends, you know what it is? It's a marketing cost. You know, for my mastermind and for my river cruise, I encourage people to at least make, and this is another solution, to pay at least the deposit by check. Because if you can pay that deposit by check and make that number so that it's big enough so that it covers you to pay for a lot of these peripheral items, all right, but it's not too big to scare people away. And then the other payment can be the credit card that goes direct to the brand, direct to the supplier, if they don't take an overpayment. That's a definite solution. Of course, if you have a merchant account, then you can take the direct credit card payments. And I understand, friends, it's very challenging for a travel professional, our category, to get a merchant account. Very challenging, very difficult. But I do know some of your hosts and some of your franchise headquarters do provide it as a service. So I can't give you one set solution. There are many, and it depends on the nature of your business and who you happen to be engaged with. Like I said, could be franchise, could be a host, to see what solutions they have, perhaps in their group department. Number 9, minimize the number of payments. I mean, this makes so much sense. But I see travel professionals saying, oh, I'll make it easy for you. We're going to break it up into 3 payments or 4 payments or pay as you go. Well, let me tell you, that's a headache. And for those of you shaking your head, yes, Stuart, I've had that experience. I got to keep hunting down people, create multiple invoices. It is incredibly inefficient collecting multiple payments. So, you know, if it's a really, really high cost product, I get it. Generally speaking, I think you can do it into 2 payments. That's what I did with my river cruise. Okay, 2 payments, because you don't want to be invoicing and chasing money down. So success tip, simplify to no more than 2 payments if you can. I just want to remind you of that, because sometimes you think you're being gracious and really kind and accommodating, but at the end of the day, it becomes very inefficient, ineffective when you have to invoice multiple times the same person. And it's always the same people who don't pay you on time, right? Some people pay right away. Some people are okay. And then there's always the same people who are just late to pay. And that creates a lot of extra work and stress that's unnecessary. And finally, number 10, be crystal clear on inclusions, crystal clear. And I say this, putting my supplier cap back on, having received so many phone calls from travel professionals, or when I was the director, from my team saying, oh no, they made a promise and now can we do it? Can we come through? And almost always the answer has to be no. On rare occasions, yes. Remember, I said always assume the supplier contract is unbreakable and favors can't be done like that. So eliminate ambiguity and arguments, because that's what's going to happen. And friends, that's the purpose, the very purpose of the group agreement letter that I teach in boot camp. And that's why I teach you how to write a group agreement letter that is so simple and just so sensible, so intuitive, right? And this could be in the section, what you will provide and what you won't provide, what you will provide and what you won't provide, because it eliminates this, the stress of collecting other fees, and verifies exclusions too, because when you say it's included, it does, you don't want to assume that it's not included, because that's actually another point here. Make sure you are crystal clear on exclusions. You need to say that too. because you don't want somebody reading and something that's included and saying, oh, but I thought. And that's the word ambiguity. So writing it out very specific is going to help protect your assets. So friends, my advice here is to go all in or all out with the taxes, fees, and gratuities. When I did my river cruise partial ship charter, I went all in. The only thing I could not go all in was the travel insurance, because legally you're not supposed to say included. Not supposed to say included. That's going to come up in the back half, 11 through 20. We'll talk about travel insurance, but just make a decision. You know, I've seen different mindsets here, which is, why don't I just give them a menu? Everyone gets to pick what they want. No, that's going to drive you crazy. Remember, one of the benefits that we talked about in our power hour, other power hour, in that module that I delivered to you, was the groups need to be a simpler sale, meaning simpler sale, less choice. Here's when we're going, here's where we're going, and here's the option. Do you want an inside, do you want an outside, or which outside do you want, or which balcony do you want? Really simple, as few choices as possible. And when you go all in, then and everything's baked in too, and they're not gonna, they won't feel nickeled and dimed. You understand that? But you can say includes fees and taxes and gratuities. That's okay. You can say it's done, but just make crystal clear and be consistent. It's either all in or it's not. And I suggest you go all in. I just think it's simpler. And the thing is, when they go to compare your pricing, make sure they realize, listen, if you're going to go price shop, go right ahead. Remember, I've created an exclusive package nobody else has. And number two, there's no, oh, but wait, this is due. It's already built in. Isn't it beautiful to say that? People love hearing. It's already built in. It's already baked in. Got you covered, got your back. And you're going to state exactly what's included in that number and what is not included in that number. Okay, so that's the top 10 on July 9th. I will bring you the other top 10, which is 11 to 20. Because I want you to have time to absorb this, download that handout, so now we can open up for Q&A. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to make sure you get that. I'm going to put a poll out there, and can you see that poll? I want you to do that quick poll, please, while I'm going to eliminate the screen. But when it comes to group sales, I usually make the sale, always earn money, make the sale break even or lose money, lose the sale because I'm unwilling to lose money. So go ahead and start, if you would be so kind to fill in your responses there. And then I'm going to check your comments and questions, and then we're going to dive right in. Okay, I'm just going to check this here. Okay, we're going to start right there. All right. All right, so it looks like we got all the results in. So the results are 20% say lose the sale because I'm unwilling to lose money. 20%, the same exact number. Nope, we just changed. It's now 25%. So 19%, I'm going to close the poll, or else the numbers are going to keep changing. There we go, close the poll. Will I get the results? Yes. Hang on, let me just get rid of that screen. There we go. We're good. So here's the final tally, friends. 19% say I usually lose the sale because I am unwilling to lose money. 25%, marginally higher, make the sale, break even, or lose money. So a quarter of you. And 56%, hallelujah, make the sale and always earn money. And here's the thing. That's great news. And it's only 56% because 44% of you are either losing this, I'm sorry, let me back that up. 25% of you are making the sale but breaking even, losing money. The other 19% are saying, not going to happen. I'm going to walk away and get out of the business. So I applaud that. And for you 19%ers, I hope that through boot camp and through our conversations that are about to happen, I will help you to nail more sales, nail the sale more often. And listen, not every client is for you, right? And you're not right for every client. You know, there's no baseball player that bats 1,000. It just doesn't happen. And in sales, we can't bat 1,000. We like to think we could. We want to improve our batting average, and it's really about improving, not. It's impossible to be a perfect salesperson. Wouldn't it be great if it was, right? And for your 56%, more power to you. Please do share your tips and strategies, because I admire that, and I want to elevate that 56 to 100%. I make the sale, always earn money. That's the goal. Okay, so let's see what we got here for questions and so forth. Amy's in the house. Hello, Amy P. Sharon's here. Saying thank you for this. I had my first sandals wedding. Sharon, congratulations. We all wish you the very, very best of success with your first sandals wedding. Very exciting. I wonder if any other boot campers on right now have a specialty in destination weddings. Karen said yes, which means the question, Karen D, was, do you do a P&L every time? All right, love to hear it. Linda W, yes, I've started this with a new customer that I just acquired. I added my fee. Beautiful. Charlene, I have not done a P&L for the one group I had. All right, going forward, you will. And listen, I know the first one is the hardest. The first one is the most confusing. It's intimidating sometimes using Excel. If you don't really love Excel, get help or use my template that I've given you. Linda said I used your spreadsheet example. Great. Thank you, Linda. That's great news. Linda said, then do you show them all the broken down numbers or just the final amount? Great question. Everybody, pull up a chair. Listen to me very carefully. Linda W just asked a great question. Do you show the group all the broken down numbers or just the final amount? And the answer is just the final amount. Remember the word opaquely. I use the word opaque. You know, when you go to the supermarket or you go to the Costco or to the Walmart or you shop online on Amazon, whatever, they don't give you a breakdown of who's earning what the markup is. My goodness, if you ever saw the markup on glasses, you know, eyewear, forget about it. You'd be shocked and appalled unless you were the manufacturer or the retailer selling those glasses, those lenses. Of course, it's perspective involved there now, isn't it? So the correct answer is you do not reveal the breakdown. And the way you get away with that is by seeking permission first. So when you're first meeting and you're doing your qualifying process, and I have this information is in Pitch Perfect. So you new boot campers, remember when you joined, materials roll out every week. And also you have instant access to Pitch Perfect. You have instant access to Group Launch Sequence, instant access to the Experts Library, so forth, and the hundreds of other power hours and Ask Stuart hours that I've done in the past. So Linda, I hope that makes sense. You want to keep it opaque, but when you seek permission, hey, is it okay if I package this for you so I can negotiate on your behalf and kind of mash all the numbers up, and I'm going to come back to you with that one package number, a more inclusive number. If they say yes, they've given you permission to do it. I don't know who would say no to that, especially if they truly want the very best value possible. Just saying. Nancy G, where was that Excel spreadsheet? Is it in the training area? I missed it. Yes, it is. And forgive me, I should have written this down too. I don't know if it's in week 2 or week 3. I will. Everyone asks this question. So what I'll do is I'll post it in our Facebook group. And I'll put a link so you can go back into boot camp and find it. Sharon said, I'm definitely lost and need to learn more. All right. Welcome. I'm glad you're here, Sharon. And if I need to cover something you need to hear, you let me know. We'll make sure we put that on the platform for a future Power Hour. If it's something we could talk about in the boot camp group in Facebook, we could talk about it there. You let me know. On July 9th, remember, I'm going to do the back half here, 11 to 20. But I appreciate, listen, Sharon and everybody, if there's an area, wow, fascinating. If there's an area where you need some help, don't be shy. Be bold. Say, Stuart, I don't get this. I don't understand this. I need help. I keep screwing it up, or I'm afraid to even try. That's really when you have the breakthroughs in life, isn't it? When we, oh, I just had the book out, just put it away. When we feel the fear and do it anyway. The whole idea, though, is to gain the knowledge, develop a new skill set, make it a new habit that you do the P&L every time. Very important. Linda W says, at least my host agency does have a place where I can add my fees. The only thing is, it is charged their percent take. So they have a percent that they take. So Linda and everybody, I know when you're dealing with credit cards, or if you're dealing with your host or franchise, they're going to take a piece of it, chalk it up as a marketing fee or a management fee. Your client doesn't need to be aware of this. And factor that into your spreadsheet, realizing that a point, 3 points, whatever the number is going to be taken out right off the top, or right from the bottom line, whichever one you want, right? It could be taken off the top or right out of your bottom line. It's a marketing fee. And for our mastermind group, Mike and I, we are encouraging, we did encourage everybody to send checks because well, no sense making the credit card company any richer than they already are, the banks. Some people were comfortable sending checks, some were comfortable, paying credit card. That's fine. It's just an option you can give, especially if you make it required that it has to be a check or money order for the very first payment. And when you lose some, like I just said, just don't cry over it. Everyone gets hit with that. Everybody who does business. Summer said, can't wait. Cool. Me too. Charlene, regarding the poll, I've only had one group so far and it was canceled due to the virus. That is a bummer. I'm very sorry to hear that, Charlene. I would imagine a lot of you have had groups canceled. I know Karen D, you did, right? I would imagine it's prevailing and you're not alone. The Facebook group is a great place to chit chat and talk, so you can compare notes with other ambitious group agencies to see when it's being rescheduled. Are you going for the fall? Are you going for Q4? Are you going for Q1, 2, or 3 next year? Well, how are you handling this? I know it's tough, but I understand about all the cancellations. Our mastermind was supposed to be in March. It's now scheduled for August. Charlene said, so I predict that I will make money. Yes, you will predict, because you will. You now have a checklist, or at least the top 10, but if you take the handout, make sure you print out the handout, you'll get all 20. And so Linda W just confirmed that's what she did. In fact, she just gave the final amount, but did break out the air. I get that, and stated that it included taxes and fees. Beautiful. VRBO. What am I missing? VRBO. Oh my goodness, you got me. It's not coming to me, Linda. What's VRBO? Tell me. Crystal says, do you suggest offering a check payment discount? Crystal, that's a great question. I'm always fundamentally against the discount. Fundamentally, always. Maybe if you buy within the next 3 hours, if you commit, you get $50 off. Or if you're escorting, if you're with the group and it's towards the end and you pass around a clipboard with a piece of paper with their names on it, and you ask them, say, hey, listen, we're working on our next year's trip. I tell you what, if you put $25 down now, not only will you get 25 off the next trip, but I'll double it. I'll match your 25 and give you a savings, by committing now. But if you want your $25 back, you can get it. I mean, it's a great way to get people signed up and eager and excited for next year, whether you have it all planned out or not. I hope you do, because there's no better place to sell next year's trip than right now, this year's trip. I would say no. So let me give you an example, Crystal, of what I did with my boot camp. And some of you took advantage of this. Instead of discounting, I gave a value add option. So listen up, everybody. Here's what I did. I did, because I understand, there's financial issues impacting just about everybody, including me. And I felt a little guilty, doing a promotion to get people to pay $800 for boot camp if you've got no income right now. So I put out a name your terms offer. Name your terms offer. So you can at least plop down $100 today and decide when you want to start paying it off. You want to start paying the balance in August, September, or October, right? Some of you are here because of that, and I'm grateful. And Crystal, to your question, I said anybody who pays in full by check, I will give 2 one-on-one coaching sessions. Now, that has a value of $400, $200 an hour. And several of you took advantage of that. If you paid by full via credit card, I give you 1. And what's the cost? It's not a discount, but it's a value add. Does that make sense, Crystal? I hope it does. Maybe, just maybe, you could come up with a value add, because what you don't want people feeling, oh man, you got something that I didn't, and I feel I'm getting gypped or ripped off. So it's got to be a little bonus that everyone else is okay with, but you're giving something special to those who do pay by check. Kay says, should you factor in the percent for credit card use in your total package pricing, whether they pay by check? No, I would not have 2 different prices. This is a real personal matter. For me, I'm really against a restaurant. I don't favor restaurants that say, here's the cash price, here's the credit card price. Heck, living most of my life in New York, here's the cash price, here's the credit card price. I don't like that. Thankfully, here in Tennessee, of all places, it's the same price. Same price, cash or credit. So, I would not, give them 2 different prices, which goes back to what Crystal said to the discount. But I think, do you factor in the percentage? And I would say you absolutely do. You know that you're going to lose 3% off the bottom. So if your margins are thin, make sure you boost them up just a little bit to cover that marketing or that management cost of accepting credit cards. So build that in, yes. But if somebody pays you by check, it doesn't matter. It's the same price, it's already factored in. Because at the end of the day, right, Kay, you want to create a price point that everyone loves. They think it's fair and balanced, and you think it's fair and balanced. Nancy G, host agency only gets their part of split if it goes through them. If you live in a state like Florida and you have your own Florida SOT, your travel license, seller travel license, you can charge the fee yourself. Thank you, Nancy. This is something that I don't say enough, friends, which is you have to be mindful of your own states or your own municipalities, especially Canada, rules and regulations on collecting checks and credit cards, and if it's going through another source. So I want to read it again from Nancy G. Host agency only gets their part if the split, if it goes through them. And if you live in the state of Florida and have your own seller travel license, you can charge the fee yourself. Check with your local seller travel rules. Rental homes. Thank you, Kyle. That's what VROB. I had a feeling that's what it was. But it didn't come into my head after I moved on. I appreciate that clarification. It's good to have you, Kyle. Crystal said, yes, that makes sense. Just trying to figure out a way to avoid credit card fees. Can't do it. Can't do it. Do your best to try it. It's never going to be 100% unless you say check is required. And some people may get turned off by that. I don't know. Kay said, I meant putting the percent and everyone pays. They don't know it's in there. Exactly, Kay. You're going to put that percentage in. That's going to cover your marketing management fee. We're going to call it that, but it's a credit card fee, and everyone pays that. Absolutely, positively. All right, that is the last comment or question. We have 15 seconds left, and I'm going to end on time. Any final comments? Any final questions before I let you go? Nancy G says Zelle, Z-E-L-L, is an option that has no cost, but it's only bank to bank, not credit card. Zelle is fabulous. So is Venmo, but they do have spending limits. I think Zelle it can't be 3,000. It's got to be 2,999.99, for instance. It's either Venmo or Zelle, one or the other or both. They definitely do have a daily or weekly transaction limit, but I definitely recommend you look into that. Great. Thank you, Nancy G, for suggesting that. Kay said, enjoyed today. Danita, welcome. Said, I'm always in awe of your training and learned so much in 1 hour. I'm so glad, Danita. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's very, very sweet, very kind. And I'm excited to hear that from you, that I've made a difference in somebody's business. I hope. Linda says, thanks, Stuart. Great as always. Very welcome. Nancy G said, Venmo is PayPal and I don't trust them. Oh, there you go. I don't know. I use Venmo for my kids, money back and forth. I collect rent via Venmo. It's worked out okay. So far, so good, but I get it. You got to do what you trust and what you're comfortable with. That's it. We're at time, everybody. Thanks for being here. Mark it down July 9th. I'm going to bring you the other top 10, the 11 to 20, and I'll get this uploaded to YouTube and post it in Facebook. Remember, you can see all of the prior Power Hours and Ask Stuart hours are in boot camp from 2019 going back to 2015. Now, I'm not posting them in boot camp. I just give you the link right in the Facebook group. I try to make it really seamless and simple, but you have well over 100 to choose from. If you're new here, or if you need something to do these days, go back and watch some old ones. And they're not old, because the information is still good in there. Hey, thanks for being here. Everybody, most important, be well.